Welcome everyone to another episode. Today we have a young artist among ourselves, and she's all the way from Kazakhstan, and she has big dreams. And I was amazed by her concepts, her art, and what she's creating by AI videos. Right. So, Sitora, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am from Kazakhstan, artist, designer, started making AI videos. Yeah, thank you for having me.
I do understand it's like a little bit of the awkward interaction because we are coming from two different cultures. I would say that. So I just want to ask you, Toro, like, what inspires you in terms of doing your art, expressing yourself, and what motivated you to make this kind of content so far?
I have been doing art since I was a kid. There, I have been exploring a lot about art history. My favorite movement is Impressionism.
Okay.
Especially, I like Sorolla and Claude Monet. And from more modern artists, I really, really like Thomas Blackshear, American artist, but he is Native American. His art is very, very, there is a lot of meaning, a lot of symbolism, a lot of his culture. And when you explore more and go deeper into art history and you start exploring every painting from the first sight, you cannot see like the whole meaning that the artist puts in his work. But every time you see from different angle, you see more meanings and it goes deeper and deeper, even though you have seen it like 100 times. Every time there is something new to explore. And when it comes to Thomas Blackshear's art, there's also a lot of symbolism, a lot of hidden meanings. Well, it all depends on the person, right, who looks at it. So I find it really, really interesting. And when it comes to Impressionism, what excites me the most is how artist expresses himself, herself in his or her art. Because in this type of art, you don't just copy from the reality you see, and from what you see, you capture one moment, an instance, and then you try to put it on the canvas the way you uniquely see it. And it's exactly this moment. Certain.
That's nice. That's nice. But what do you mean by impressionism?
It's an impression that you see. For example, I I'll give an example. I really enjoy the moment, when it rains and there is this moment when sun comes out.
Yeah.
And it is so quick. It doesn't last long. Well, usually, right? And you don't even when you take a photo of it, it's not the same. Camera doesn't capture it. You just try, and I understood it. Like you understand that you don't waste your time on making the perfect photo. You just try to enjoy the moment, like capture it with your whole existence into your soul, and you just enjoy it. And when it comes to art, it's the same, I think. You see the moments from your life, you see them, you remember them in your mind. You don't like, okay, this happened, this and here, I will text it. It's not the same.
But that is, I think, the beauty of an artist, that it captures the moment into the mind, and then when it's time to express it in her or his own way, they make it more beautiful. They make it more interesting. They make it more meaningful, right? So, on to the meaning part. What is the difference that you want to, create through your art into the world?
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot because as an artist, they are the ones who make the difference in the world in the first place. And when it comes to my art, I see a lot of art that is about climate, feminism, some type of problems. And I think we already see a lot of that in the media, in just everywhere. And there are a lot of artists who do that already. And of course, it must be in the world. It is very, very important to have such type of art. And but I myself, I choose not to do such things because on the other side, there are a lot of beautiful things in the world that
Mm.
we really appreciate. Even those fleeting moments when you just walk and the weather is nice, why not to capture this moment? And when you look at your art, you instead of thinking bad things, instead of getting into this kind of negative energy, for myself, I just talk about myself. I just choose to capture the most beautiful moments from my life and to get into that type of energy. This is what I choose. So I try to bring more beauty in the world, but there's also a meaning, not just beauty, but also a meaning behind that. If you try to understand, um, there are cultural problems here in Kazakhstan. I find it myself. It's not like loudly spoken. It is very, very subtle about our culture because we were in Soviet Union. After that, there has been a problem where our cultures, not only our Kazakh, but a lot of other cultures, they were trying to erase them. Like they were trying to erase all the people, the nations, whole nations. Nevertheless, we are still alive. We have our own countries. Nevertheless, young people, they don't really know the history. They don't really understand that. And they choose not to learn their own mother language. I find it really ridiculous because wherever you go to France, you try to learn French. You go to Russia, you learn several Russian words. But here, there is not so much respect for our own mother language, I think. But nowadays, more and more people talk about that, and the situation is getting much, much more better, I think. And I just try to bring into younger generation that through my art.
That's nice. And that's really interesting because in my country as well, that is happening a lot. Because my native language is Urdu, right? And people like we are talking right now in English because that is the, medium that we are talking. But if I have known Kazakh language, I would have talked into that. But in my country, the westernization is happening in that kind of manner that any person who's speaking English is more privileged, more educated. I think that is not really the condition or really not the reality, because if a person don't know English or don't know any kind of language, that is being overhyped, right? So I don't think so that brings down their knowledge of education or knowledge of understanding things completely. As we were talking earlier on that point as well. Coming on to that, would you express this kind of thing in near future into your art? Because in art, most of the revolutions happens through art, like through movies, through dramas, through paintings, right? And many of the people, like there is some Indian artists, many of the people like Leonardo da Vinci or like Picasso, they are the people who were the artists who changed the perception of the reality. And you can see a lot of unhinged, I would say, findings in the art, right? Like in Leonardo da Vinci pictures, you would see that extraterrestrial involvement. Every time you would see his picture, you would see some kind of thing that is there, that is out of this world. Would you like to include anything in such kind of way that people coming into the future would remember this through your art?
When it comes to paintings, I just try to bring more and more of our culture that we are forgetting more and more, so that we wouldn't forget our culture. But when it's just all about globalization, as you were saying, everybody's people saying that after several years, countries are gonna be all the same. Everybody's gonna dress the same, behave the same. But I think the beauty is that every country has their own culture and we just have to exchange it but keep our cultures. And I think the most beautiful part is the exchange of the cultures because you explore your like mind, it like broadens
Yeah.
and it's like completely different world, a very different experience, very new emotions and everything.
And I highly agree on that because I used to love, like when I was hanging around with my Kazakh friends. I used to love the piroshki and the horse meat sausages they used to bring. And there is one particular chocolate in the Kazakh flag, right? Like this much big. And I used to eat that a lot. That is a dark chocolate. I think that is the delicacy over there. So I used to eat that a lot. But that is the thing. I think that binds us or connect us through, like, you're sitting in a different part of the world. I'm sitting in a different part of the world. And that connects us, I think, through which we understand and share some part of the culture. That is like the commonality ground, that we are just humans, and humans should be like this, or be in such kind of way. um to the next thing that I really wanted to discuss with you, the videos that you made onto the AI platform, or, like, the platform that you're using, like Xfield, that you told me about. So do you think that it's going to be more and more explorable in the future, and we would be making full scale videos out, movies? I would not say videos, but movies out of it, because I've seen your videos and it looks so much realistic that I was confused for a while, and I researched that, and then I realized it was made out of AI.
Yeah, I highly believe that. I think it's not our like as people say it's a bad thing, it will take our jobs. I think it's more for example in the past because I work as a designer,
Yeah,
um I was thinking in the past architects and interior well they are haven't even been a thing like interior designer here. Architects they were like painting doing everything by hand. There were so many, it was taking so many time, so much energy and everything. But then came like softwares, computers, and it's just a tool.
yeah,
It's just a tool that makes work easier and it gives you more space to explore. Because sometimes, even when it comes to me, when I was just starting as an interior designer, it was really hard for me to learn all the programs because I haven't even had a normal computer that would support those kind of programs because they are really heavy. I didn't have an opportunity, so I couldn't do certain things that I wanted to do, which was my particular dream about Riyadh, which you can see in my art.
yeah.
So I wanted to do that like my passion project, but I couldn't because my computer wasn't supporting the programs which were necessary. But nowadays, you can just go to Nano Banana and try to there make the visualizations. But in the past, I couldn't do it because I had to learn well, first of all, buy a computer, then buy a program subscription, learn it, which is a whole another thing. It's really, really hard for me to learn those type of thing on my laptop. It just brings more space to creativity.
So
It's just a tool.
do you think that it's going to kill a more artistic value, like, when AI is in the picture, right? So is going to kill more of the creativeness that people have, or, like, is going to help more on that kind of side, that everyone can make anything right now, right? If you look at it from
Mhm.
that perspective. But do you think that is going to kill an artistic value of the artist than their hard work?
I think AI is like Zoom. If you have a taste, it will zoom into that more and it will, like vice versa, give you more opportunity to bring your creativity and you will pop off, you will explore yourself, your passions, and you will bloom there. But if you don't really have a taste, it will zoom, like it will enlarge that more
Okay.
and it will show you that you don't have a taste in people like the audience if you share it you will know that. I think it will just like enlarge whatever it is there already.
So would you like to make, I would say, like you told me, like, you like to travel a lot, right? So in the near future, would you say that, like, you would like to make a documentary by AI by using those kind of pictures that you have collected, or the experience that you had?
Yeah, I really would love to because I myself I have been only in 3 countries. Um, and when I was in Uzbekistan, it really, really impacted me. The Persian architecture, it was really beautiful. And when you see, because when I was a kid, I was really, really passionate about Michel Ocelot. It's a French animator, director, and his works. And I have always been wondering, like, this type of architecture in his cartoons is so amazing. Like, where is it from? And then I found out that it was like a Moroccan architecture. Uh, and I found out that here, just very close to us, there is Uzbekistan, and we traveled there. I was a kid, and when I saw that, it was so amazing. I still have the photos. I took a lot of pictures. So yes, I was really impacted by that. I even remember like um, writing a whole paragraph how it affected me just for myself, and then I started making my interior design works in that style. And it was completely different before and after that trip, for example. So yeah.
So can you tell that in whole essence that what was that feeling that changed when you explored that thing, and what was the thing that impacted you so much that it opened a horizon? Because many parents don't understand that, right? That how anything can affect their child and they can take their career paths on it, right? So what was that thing that widens your horizon?
Well, it's obviously traveling, and it's for me personally, it's art. I have been watching a lot of artworks, reading a lot about art history, like exploring that, different arts from different cultures, not just paintings. Well, paintings, of course, but also films, old cartoons, everything. It's really, really interesting experience to explore the media, the old media, what people were creating in the past, because I think it's more authentic than now. It's more like westernized. And traveling, I think it's really important to travel overall when you're a kid and whenever.
Because I realized this that the media is gone now because it's scripted in every kind of manner. But I think artists are the only thing. I'm not saying the actors. Many people consider actors as like artists. I don't consider them. I consider painters, poets, and songwriters as true artists. Why? Because they express themselves. They put their heart and soul into it, right? And they say what they want to say, and it brings out something amongst the people that is more of value. But in the other essence, when you look at that, how it's changing our culture. You're Kazakh, I'm Pakistani, and we are talking by a medium, right? And it's connecting us to a matter that I know a little bit about the Kazakh culture, and you know about the South Asian culture of India and Pakistan, right? A little bit, because we are, heading towards a global village, and it's a global village right now. But in the end, it comes down to two things. Number one, how you connect to the people when you're traveling, and how much they make you happy. That's what I believe. And I think food is one more thing that connects us all, because in Kazakhstan is a totally different culture. They will feed you to the point that you are like, oh, I cannot move right now, and it's mostly meat kind of thing, right? So in Pakistan is the same thing, but it's less of a meat and mixture of all the things. But
Mhm.
one thing that I think that makes us connectable is just like the history of brutality that we have been through, and there is a bigger part of the world that was dominating us, and when we came out of it, we had our own identity. I think that makes us like similar in that kind of way. Okay, one more thing. When you talk about raid, what do you mean by that? It's a mention, it's a castle, or it's something that you want to have in the future?
Yeah, I was really amazed by this concept of Riyadh. When we were traveling to Uzbekistan, we stayed in a Riyadh. It's like an Islamic house where, for example, in Western culture, the windows they look outside. The
Yeah.
yard is also to the outside. For example, here is the road, and people see everything what's happening inside the house. People see everything what is happening inside the family. So everything goes into outside world, and everybody sees that. But when it comes to Riyadh, it's absolutely opposite thing. The Riyadh itself, it's built like a square
Okay.
mostly, and inside that is a patio. A patio is like a inside yard of a building. So there, the meaning of that is from a climate perspective, because it's hot in certain regions, it's like regulates the the temperature, but the symbolism is really amazing. It usually has a water fountain, which plays a role of life itself, because water is a symbol of life, and it is as if like a family which lives in the Riyadh, and in the Riyadh, the whole family lives, not just like parents and kids, but the whole family, one big, one big beautiful family, and as if they have their own world and their own paradise inside their house, and it's closed. It is private, not for everybody. And what's beautiful about it is that it has a really beautiful symbolism of life, of greenery, that like plants, flowers, bushes, everything that grows around it, and you just people decorate it really beautifully however they want. And it is the concept that brings the whole family together, because they live in different usually there are 2 or 3 floors in different rooms, but they all like assemble in the Riyadh and spend their time, their beautiful private time there. And it is the dream to have such a Riyadh in the future, of course, for me.
That's the thing. Many of the people and the younger people don't think like that. Like, family values are equal to none nowadays. But if you're thinking like that, that is one of the rarest thing I have heard in a long time from a younger person. Why I'm saying that? Because they want to have, by the media they have that kind of, fake concept of freedom, that they have to cut everything off, they have to live away from their parents, and they have to leave everything behind. And if any kind of family member is dead, they cannot reach up to it because they're living in a different country. So I think that is a weird concept that has been, fed up into our mind, and to break the atomic family system, right? And that has been
Yeah,
happening from for a very, very long time. And I'm really glad that a young person is speaking like this. It's amazing. But for that kind of thing, you have to have such kind of people around you that when you're living with them, you feel happy. That is an
yeah,
important thing as well, right? So you have to choose very carefully. As they say, right, you cannot choose your family, but you can choose who to live with. And that is the most
yes,
important. Yeah, that is the most important thing we have to realize. Okay, coming back to one more point, as you told me that the concepts behind your video, that I realized, like, a person seeing a perspective, or a person roaming around in that kind of thing, that gives a feeling of freedom. What I realized from your videos, right? That a person can do anything, and, experiencing the whole reality in between. So when you get inspired by your concepts, what is the concept that you are trying to show in your series? Because many of the people, when I will tag them, or when I will tag you into the video, they would be thinking that, like, what kind of concept that is going into your mind, and what is the concept behind your videos? Is it freedom? Is it liberty? Is it feeling home, or it's the feeling of calmness? What is that?
yeah. At first, it started just as a passion project, um, but then I think I realized that it's more about keeping the culture. Well, it's not really my culture, the Riyadhs and everything, but I find it so beautiful, especially in such cultures in Morocco, the Middle Eastern, where the climate is really warm. There are palms, there is sun. I really find it beautiful. And when I was a kid, the art that I was really passionate about, and cartoons and everything that I was choosing, it was about that, especially Michelle Aslo. Uh, I think that's the reason. And I think I find, yeah, a lot of calmness in that. And because it more comes from my childhood when we were traveling to Uzbekistan. It was really beautiful. But our latest trip, I think it was more of a conscious decision because of that. When we were traveling to Tashkent, there were there was a guest house where we stayed. It was a riad. I was already in a certain age when I could tell my parents what I wanted, and we stayed there. And we were very lucky because it was held by a family. It was a very beautiful family. They were living together. They had a grown daughter, and they were living with the husband of their daughter. They had kids, and they were living all together. And it was as if we paid them money just to live with them, just to live with this family. We were having lunches, breakfast, dinners all together with the kids, with the elders, and the guests that were staying there. But at that point, we were almost only guests there. And it was such a beautiful atmosphere there. This is what I remembered, and I tried to bring into my art this feeling of calmness, yeah, of course, and also this moments, because they are just the moments that you just remember in your mind. You cannot like take them with yourself. So even when it comes to impressionism, you try to capture it inside yourself. You keep it inside yourself before you put it on the canvas. It's a feeling, you cannot like describe it, the characteristics and everything. It's what you feel inside. So it was the same feeling that I tried to like explore in my art.
As an artist, as a person who looks at world, as a different canvas, what makes you feel like whenever there is a chaos, what a person or an artist should do to make people good about themselves?
Well, there's a lot of chaos in our world.
Yeah.
A lot of things are happening, a lot of bad things, yeah, and there are people that bring this up, that talk about that. And these type of people, they are necessary in our world, that is for sure, because somebody must speak up about it. But there are, I think, plenty of people like that. Just when it comes to me, I on the other side, I try to bring the positive side of
Mhm.
everything. Even if my art has a meaning that we're losing our culture or something like that about the language and cultural oppression, anyway, I try to bring it from the beautiful side. Not like here is the bad guy and we are the victims, but on the other hand, that we now are in the position when we can change something. We should strive to make a difference into a more positive side, more focus on that rather than focusing on the bad guy, how bad position we are. I think we should do the same thing whenever whatever happens, however the bad situation is, we should see the more positive side in that rather than focusing on the bad side.
As Charles Bukowski, like I like that writer a lot, right? Charles Bukowski said, "Artist is a human who lives 1,000 lives within one and express it the half of it what he knows." Because many of the people cannot handle it. That what is the essence of the reality is in this world. That is the
Mhm.
thing, and that's why I like that guy a lot. He writes amazing stuff, right? But in the all of essence, like I think we are heading in that kind of direction that we need more storytellers, video makers like you who can make this world a better person. Because see, you're doing so much good in this young age, and I say that very less to people who there's so many I would say useless stuff that people are you doing and making a lot of money, but there's so much less of meaningful work that you are doing, and people are not getting that kind of appreciation on that because you understand architecture, you understand the culture, and you understand what is there to express and what is to impressionize into our society. So I just wish you best of luck, and you have a long good career ahead, inshallah. And I wish that that happens. So like when people are asking me, you have interviewed her very early, I said yes because I saw that in her. So
Thank you.
that is the thing I wish. But there's one advice I'm going to give you. No matter what happens, don't give up, because this world is a dog eat dog world out there. It's a very cruel world, and nobody cares about you, and nobody thinks what's happening with you. So I'm going to give you just one advice: fight through it. You're already there, and make people know that what it's like to think freely, and what it's like to have good values, good family values, and still think what it's like to be an amazing person. So that is the only advice
Thank
I'm
you.
going to give you. Okay. So Sitora, thank you so much for your time. We're going to wrap this up. We had a great conversation. I hope we can add more. but I know you're a little bit tight in your schedule, and there is things that has been going on prior. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, Sitora.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Really appreciate it.